Okay, imagine for a second an AI that doesn't just hear words, but actually understands the conversation, the tone, the questions, the context, everything. Well, that's exactly the promise of Voxtral, a brand new audio model from Mistral AI that is seriously poised to change how we interact with sound itself.
You know that feeling, right? You're just drowning in audio. You're staring at a huge recording of a meeting or a long lecture or some podcast, and you just know the one piece of information you need is buried somewhere in there. What if you could just ask the audio file a question and get a straight answer?
Well, that is precisely the challenge Voxtral is built to solve. It has this massive 32,000 token context window. Just think of tokens as the little pieces of words the AI can hold in its short-term memory. And having a memory this big lets Voxtral process and understand up to 40 minutes of continuous audio all in one shot. But here's what makes this a really big deal. Mistral isn't locking this incredible tech away. Nope. They're releasing it with open weights under an Apache 2.0 license. They are literally handing the keys to developers and researchers everywhere. This is huge because it means the power to build the future of audio isn't just in the hands of a few giant companies anymore. Now, you might be thinking, okay, open source. That usually means there's a catch, right? A trade-off in performance. Well, that's the thing. Voxtral completely defies that expectation. As we're about to see, this model goes toe-to-toe with some of the biggest closed-source models out there. And in a lot of key areas, it's not just competing, it's winning. So what is this new audio powerhouse exactly? Let's pop the hood and see what makes it tick. All right, at its heart, Voxtral is what we call a multimodal model. It's a fancy way of saying it's fluent in two languages, spoken audio and written text. It actually comes in two flavors. There's the super powerful 24 billion parameter small version, and then there's a more nimble 4.7 billion parameter mini version. The mini is so efficient you can run it on local devices, which is amazing for privacy and for using it offline. So we know what it is, but the real magic, the really clever stuff, is in how it all works. The architecture here is seriously smart. You can think of it like a three-step dance. First, it listens. It uses an audio encoder to chop up the sound into these manageable 30-second clips. Then, and this is the key part, it condenses all that audio information, making it way more efficient to handle. And finally, it responds, using its big language brain to generate text, answer your questions, or give you a summary. This condensing step has a name. It's called downsampling, and it really is the model's secret sauce. Imagine trying to describe a 40-minute movie by showing someone every single frame. It'd be totally overwhelming. Downsampling is like creating a detailed sketch of the entire movie instead. By shrinking the audio data size 4 times over, it lets the model see the whole picture without getting lost in the weeds. But look, a smart design is only half the battle, right? How you teach an AI is every bit as important as how you build it, and Mistral's approach here is pretty unique. The team basically gave Voxtral a 2-part education. The first goal was something called a repetition pattern. You can think of this like training a court stenographer. Its job is to get every single word down with perfect accuracy. The second goal was a continuation pattern. This is more like training an analyst to listen to a conversation and figure out what's likely to be said next. This builds deep reasoning skills. So what you get in the end is one AI that's both a world-class transcriber and a really sharp conversationalist. Okay, the theory is impressive. I get it. But how does it actually perform in the real world? How does it stack up against giants like Google and OpenAI? All right, let's get right to it. Let's look at the benchmarks and see how Voxtral really measures up. First up, speech recognition. Now we're looking at something called word error rate. So for this one, lower is better. And as you can see, Voxtral Small just sets a new state-of-the-art benchmark. It's outperforming all the other models shown here, open and closed. And what's really wild is that even the little Voxtral Mini is more accurate than its direct competitors. That's impressive. Okay, next up is translation quality. For this, we use what's called a blue score, and here, higher is better. Across all of these different language pairs, the story is pretty much the same. Voxtral Small is an absolute beast. It's not just good, it's leading the entire pack. Another new state-of-the-art result. But what about true understanding? The ability to actually answer questions about what it heard. This is where things get really interesting. This table puts it head-to-head with a major competitor, and look at that. It is an incredibly tight race. Voxtral Small actually pulls ahead in several of these really complex benchmarks, like OpenBookUA and MLU. So the takeaway here is that this open source model isn't just playing catch-up, it is a genuine top-tier competitor.
So we've got a powerful, competitive, and completely open model. But the biggest story here, really, is what this all means for the future. And this is why this whole release is so important. It's about democratizing power. It means the best audio AI tools are no longer just for a handful of tech giants. It means you can run the mini version right on your own device, which brings privacy and control back to you. And it does all this without sacrificing its core text abilities. Ultimately, what this does is unleash innovation. It's putting these powerful tools into the hands of a global community to build things we probably haven't even dreamed of yet. By giving AI a powerful, open-source set of ears, Mistral hasn't just released a new model. They've kicked open a door to a whole new world of possibilities. It really makes you wonder, now that our machines can finally truly listen and understand, what are we going to ask them to do for us first?